What's up, guys? Welcome back. So last week, like a lot of people, I downloaded the Star Wars Battlefront Classic bundle that just came out. And also, like a lot of people, I was pretty disappointed. I usually try to go into a game blind, but because I already knew this game so well and everyone else who was going to buy it probably knew it really well too, I had certain preconceived notions about this thing. There were certain little things that just seemed logical to do. Like, for instance, I thought Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 were literally going to be kind of one game. And so, for instance, if you wanted to play instant action and you're going through all the maps, it would include all the maps from Battlefront 1 and 2. And I thought it would be cool and was kind of hoping for them to include playable heroes on the Battlefront 1 maps. I think a lot of other people were sort of hoping and assuming they'd add little additions like that as well. I mean, why not take the great additions to Battlefront 2 and put them in 1 if you're already working on re-releasing it? But none of that ended up being true. And even, I had a little hope that they'd go the extra mile and add some heroes. Like, maybe, wouldn't it be cool if you could play as Qui-Gon and young Obi-Wan on the Naboo maps, or play as Lando and Chewbacca with the C-3PO backpack on Bespin? That'd be great. But we got none of that, right? I mean, so when you first open the game, not only is the interface not sort of molded into one, but the first screen you see is just, do you want to play Battlefront 1 or 2? Now, this seems so silly to me because I already had Battlefront 1 and 2 downloaded on my Xbox. I would have got this for PC, but I wanted to play split screen with my brother and some friends and stuff, so I decided to get it for Xbox. I already had Battlefront 1 and 2 downloaded on my Xbox, so if I want to play Battlefront 1, I can just go over to Battlefront 1 and click it. If I want to play Battlefront 2, I can go over to Battlefront 2 and click it. But with Classic, you'd have to click it, and then it would say, do you want to play 1 or 2? And then you'd click it again. So it's literally just the only difference between this Classic bundle and the originals was the click of one more button to get to the game you want. That wasn't the only difference, I'm sorry. The only other difference was that in the original Star Wars Battlefront Classic bundle, the loading screen had slightly different sounds. And I noticed this immediately, and I think everyone else did. I even saw a TikTok about it. I was afraid I was crazy and I was the only one who cared, but a lot of people were disappointed by this, not because it's any genuinely, big disappointment, but it's just like, why? I mean, that the sound effect of that Battlefront 1 loading screen is so embedded in our minds, so it was kind of jarring to hear that they slightly shifted it and made it a little bit worse. There's a big, glaring, just why? It seems like such a small, odd thing to adjust. But anyway, so I played 2 rounds of Battlefront 1 on the Classic, and I saw that it was really no different than the ones that I already had installed. It was pretty much carbon copies. I know they're supposed to run smoother, 60 frames per second, and they're like 4K now, but honestly, it had kind of the same effect as how everyone misremembered pixels, where when you look at pixels now, they're almost... The charm is that they're all blocky and stuff, but pixelated things didn't look like that on older TVs, right? They looked all smoothed over, and it kind of fit the TV. The original Battlefront 1 and 2 fit the TVs of the time, and now that it's so crisp, it just looks worse in a way. Anakin looks awful. He's got like a Lego hair thing going on. Han just looks like any other rebel. They all look pretty gnarly. And... that also was just a little jarring to see. So after 2 rounds, I uninstalled it. The only selling point for this game was that it would be online again, right? First of all, I didn't really have any interest in that. I just wanted to play split screen with my friends and stuff. And second of all, we all know what happened with the online. And I'm sure as it goes on, the servers will get fixed and it'll get better. But man, it's rough out there for Battlefront Classic right now. So I was sitting there kind of bummed out. and I was excited to play Battlefront. It was gonna be my whole weekend. And I realized what I was looking for was Battlefront with just a slightly new twist, something to make it fresh and exciting. So I went to my PC, I have it for PC as well, and I started looking through mods. A few years ago, I downloaded the Battlefront 3 mod for Battlefront 2. Some people got together and made all the maps and characters that we got a glimpse at from the original Battlefront 3 trailers and tried to recreate it on the Battlefront 2 engine, and those were a lot of fun. So I went back to see what I could find, and I found a lot of cool stuff. First of all, I do want to mention, for fans of the newer stuff, there were a lot of really good-looking mods that included Disney Star Wars characters and so forth. A lot of maps, and there was Ahsoka, and there was the Mandalorian and stuff like that. They looked really good. Not my cup of tea, so I was trying to find some expanded universe stuff. But if you're looking for that content, it's definitely there, and it looks really good. But I want to go through a few of the ones that I found. So, at first, I wanted to play as Kyle Katarn. He's one of my favorite characters. I thought it'd be so cool if he would be a playable hero. So I looked it up, and pretty instantly there it was. There was Rusan, Canyon Oasis, and other maps that were ported directly from Jedi Knight. You could play as Kyle Katarn. You could play as all these other expanded universe characters. They all looked really good. Kyle Katarn looked like he walked right out of Jedi Outcast. There were even some other skins that looked like it was supposed to be a younger Kyle Katarn from Dark Forces. There were some other skins that I was really impressed with. There was Mara Jade and Dash Rendar and Luke Skywalker that were all the skins that they have in Galaxy of Heroes. If you don't know what Galaxy of Heroes is, it's just a cell phone game that I play, unfortunately, a little too much, but they managed to port those skins from that game into Battlefront, and they look really good. I had a lot of fun playing as Kyle and Mara Jade and all those guys on Rusan. The next mod I looked at was the Thrawn Trilogy campaign, which essentially just gives you all the heroes from the Thrawn Trilogy. So you have clone Luke Skywalker, you have Jedi Knight Mara Jade, you have Jedi Leia, you have General Solo, you have Talon Card, you have Joruus C'baoth, you have all. It was really cool. They all look pretty good. Joruus was a reskin. These are all reskins, of course, for the most part. There were some new animations I saw in some of the mods and a couple new moves even, but for the most part it was reskins, which was fine. And Joruus was a reskin of Sidious, and it was a lot of fun to go around floating and wrecking things as him. Another one moving forward who was a reskin of Sidious and was genuinely terrifying was Darth Traya. She was, the no hand and was floating idly, and she was genuinely frightening. And that whole Knights of the Old Republic mod was one of the best for sure. It was a lot of fun. Some of the trouble these mods have, I think, and I know it's usually just like one guy doing it, so no shade their way, but as a musician, I noticed the audio a lot, and audio was lacking in a lot of these mods. There was a really cool Malachor 5 map that included the sort of old style Mandalorians. It was supposed to be the Mandalorian Wars, the Mandalorians against the Republic, and the map itself was pretty cool. It had certain texture issues, and you could see seams and holes in the map at times, but the character models themselves looked pretty good. However, the soundscape was a little lacking. There wasn't really that much going on besides just, gunfire. It was just really footsteps and gunfire, and that was it. However, and this is really just kind of fun and endearing, you can always tell that a lot of these guys who make these mods, I think it's either just themselves or their buddy who does the voice, if there is a voice. And hearing these Republic soldiers that just sound like, your buddy at work kind of took me out of it a little bit. But, they are working with what they got, and I totally respect that. However, part of the reason that I loved the Knights of the Old Republic mod so much Not only because I'm such a huge fan of Knights of the Old Republic, if you couldn't tell from some of my previous videos and the name of the channel, was because of the sound. They actually imported the soundtrack from Knights of the Old Republic into the level. So, for instance, I was playing on Dantooine as the Sith, and you would hear the Dantooine track, Jeremy Soul's track that plays when you're on Dantooine in Knights of the Old Republic, and I was sold. The minute I heard that track, I was like, oh, this is a great mod. And then when I got enough kills and I was able to play as Darth Malak, which was a blast, it played his theme. Just like when you hear the theme of the hero that you'd play as in the vanilla Battlefront 2.
A command post for the Empire. Affirmative.
Little things like that completely sold me. Now, I don't know how this stuff works, and I don't know how hard it would be to extract voice files and import them, but if these guys could get voice files, for instance, if you clicked on Kyle Katarn and you spawned in, and then he says, Kyle Katarn at your service, that would be fantastic. That would be all I would ever want from a mod. Again, I don't know how this stuff works, but man, if they could figure out how to import some of these voices for these characters, that would be next level, and I don't think I would seldom leave my room if they got to that point. Another great one from the Knights of the Old Republic mod was Terrace. It looks exactly like Terrace from Knights of the Old Republic, and I played as the Republic on that level, and I was just blowing through Sith as Bastila. It was a lot of fun. Her model looked really good. She was just a reskin of Maul, but Maul's one of the best heroes in the game, so it was a lot of fun to just annihilate tons and tons of Sith on Terrace. It was a blast. And then I got a little greedy. I was like, how far can I push this? How many mods are out there? I mean, it's such an old game. There has to be a lot, right? And so I started looking for Mandalorian mods. Now, of course, when you think Mandalorian now, you think of the TV show and everything. What I was looking for were skins from the Open Seasons comic, the Dark Horse comic about Jango. That was one of my favorite Star Wars comics as a kid. I was actually introduced to it through the Bounty Hunter game. When you beat levels in that game or got certain collectibles, I'm not sure exactly how you did it, you could unlock pages of that comic book and read them in the game. And I loved reading it in the game. I loved learning about that lore, and then I bought I had all the comics as a kid, and I'd read them over and over and over again. And lo and behold, there was an Open Seasons mod called the Mandalorian Wars Project. And this blew my mind, because I really wasn't expecting something that niche. You never hear about this comic anymore. Not a lot of people talk about it, but there it was, and it was awesome. So you could play as Jaster Muriel's Mandalorians or Tor Vizsla's Death Watch Mandalorians, and they would go to battle. And if you got enough kills as the Death Watch, you could play as Tor Vizsla, which was a lot of fun, super cool. And if you got enough kills as Jaster's Mandos, you could play as Jaster, as Montross, or as young Jango, which was all super cool, and was not expecting that one. And I'll link, of course, all these mods down below so you can check them out for yourself. The only one I didn't find that would have been even more niche was a Tales of the Jedi mod. I thought it would have been so cool if you could play as Ulic and Kay Keldroma, Tat Donita, Nomi Sunrider, Exar Kun, all those guys. I'm sure there's like an Exar Kun skin mod somewhere because he's pretty popular, but I wanted sort of the whole bundle, you know, Jedi versus Sith in the Sith Wars. And that would actually be appropriate because two of the maps in Vanilla Battlefront 2 are Ren Var, and that planet was, I think, originally created as Ulic Keldroma's final resting place. So he has a lot of relevance to that planet, and that would be a lot of fun. If you guys know that mod's out there, please let me know. So I think it's kind of sad and funny that a company as great as Aspyr has really just been re-releasing all their same content. I know they have Force Unleashed and other games out for the Wii now, and like I've been playing Knights of the Old Republic on my phone, and this is sort of a new low for that group, because they used to be a really heavy-hitting group. If you were a Star Wars fan back in the day, they released all the best stuff, and now it's like this was really like bottom of the barrel bare minimum for them in terms of a release of a game. I mean, there was no effort put forward into this game, and it was like almost $40 or something like that. If you happen to have a gamer PC, I highly suggest modding. This stuff is totally free, and these people are doing it because they love it. That was the main difference, and that was what got me so excited about these mods, and that's really what separates sort of a depressing cash grab from something great. They couldn't be more polar opposite experiences. They just put the Stormtrooper next to the Clone Trooper and said, here's a re-release of these games with nothing really different about them at all, and they're asking for, you know, $40 from you. Here's the same game again, give us some more money. Versus these people that are putting out some really incredible and high quality mods, and of course, you know, they're just putting it out there. Here's the file, have fun. And playing through all these mods reminded me of the creative and passionate roots that Star Wars has. These people took all this time and all this effort to put these maps and these characters together for no other reason than they love it. Versus a company re-releasing the exact same 20-year-old game and asking you to buy it. So please check out these mods down below if you can, and if you have any mods to recommend, please let me know because it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.